Hello and welcome to Defence Line, our weekly show on defence, security and more. The question increasingly being asked is if our defence services based on the British legacy are keeping tune with the modern day requirements of warfare. The Services Selection Board SSB system of entry into the cadet training institutes like the National Defence Academy, the Indian Military Academy and the Officers Training Academy has undergone little, if any, change since independence. Besides, many feel that there is need for laying greater emphasis on challenges of cyber, nuclear, biological and chemical warfare. Is there need for drastic change in our military training templates? That is what we discuss in Defence Line today with four retired officers: Brigadier Pradeep Sharma, former Brigadier General Staff in the Western Command; Major General B.S. Garewal, former Deputy Commandant NDA; Major General Raj Mehta, former GOC of a division; and Lieutenant General SBS Kocher, former Commandant NDA. Gentlemen, welcome to the discussion. But before that, let us look at this report.
Victory smiles upon those who anticipate changes in the nature of war, said a famous Italian general about a century ago. But it holds true even today. However, the army still adheres to the British legacy with training institutes undergoing little change. But does that prepare our soldiers for the challenges of the 21st century? Today, methods of warfare have changed with battles being fought more by machines and lesser by men, even through cyber, nuclear and biological warfare. Also, today proxy wars are being fought and a direct confrontation avoided. The world over, armies are sending troops home, cutting size and shape. In India, though, the debate remains about staff crunch. Are we getting it right, or is our situation just very different?
We are in conversation with Brigadier Sharma, Major General Garewal, Major General Mehta and Lieutenant General Kocher. General Garewal, I'll start with you. As Deputy Commandant in the NDA, I believe you subscribe to the triple 20 concept. 20 kilometers of riding, 20 laps of swimming and 20 kilometers of cycling. Yeah. With the benefit of hindsight, would you still subscribe to the triple 20 concept?
Oh yes, of course I would. 2020 was a good fun activity. It sounds tougher than what it is on the ground.
Okay.
The 20 kilometers on horseback, most of the work is being done by the horse, and 20 kilometers cycling for cadets who cycle so extensively is not much. The swimming standards in India are very high today. I've never seen swimming standards so high. So 20 laps in the pool is not.
Would you not rather add another 20 hours of computer wargaming perhaps?
Well, I get the drift of what you're saying. And I quite agree that there is a requirement to emphasize that kind of activity, certainly. But the 2020 concept was something we tried, it worked, it was very popularly subscribed to by the cadets. It was a voluntary activity, okay. It was not something which was forced upon them.
Coming back to the basics, for the Services Selection Board, you put the candidates through 5 days of testing. Do you think that needs to undergo a change today?
I have not been working in a SSB myself, but I can tell you from the experience of the kind of cadets we were getting at the NDA, that we did feel that there were a few refinements which the SSBs could look at. One problem which we faced at the NDA was that the base level entry physical standards were very poor, and therefore we constantly requested the SSB system, the selection system, to look at some physical testing of a candidate before he comes to us. Unfortunately, this while we were there was never agreed to, because they felt that physical training is a trainable concept, and therefore no matter what the base level is, given 3 years at the NDA, he should be able to come up to the standards. Most of the cadets did come up to the standards, but we have had people who've been wanting in physical standards.
Okay, I'll just come back to you.
Yes, please.
Brigadier Sharma, would you want a change at the SSB level, the kind of testing that the candidates are put through?
I would rather put my comment or response to you as follows. I feel that the SSB system is one of the best.
Okay.
But everything which is as good as we would like it to be also sometimes falls short. We do have a system of physical test by in the way of obstacles and things which the candidates run through, but it's not as stringent as perhaps General Garewal would like it to be. What I would like probably a little more emphasis is on issues of integrity, morals, ethics, and physical courage, perhaps, because at that young age you require all of this.
Is that desire driven by lots of senior officers getting embroiled in cases of corruption?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that it's lots of senior officers. I would say that, as we were discussing earlier on, that somewhere down the line we as a nation have failed to develop a national character and a sense of national pride, and some fallout of that is bound to be seen in the army. However, in the army you get no second chances. If I can dwell on this, in Kargil, if I were to capture Tiger Hill and I failed miserably, Barkha Dutt would put a TV camera on my face and a mic under my nose and expose me to the entire world. My nation would be put to shame, there would be lives lost which are irretrievable. National shame is irretrievable, organizational shame is irretrievable. Therefore, I have to have 200% integrity and professional competence.
Absolutely, point well made.
If I could just add a little bit to this here, I think I substantially disagree with him.
Okay.
Because the SSB system as we have it today cannot really be glorified in any worthwhile manner. It is an essentially unchanged system from 1941 when it was first introduced by the British. The rest of the world, including NATO, people that we look up to by way of change indicators, have moved far ahead.
General Mehta, the Americans have gone in for the Scholastic Aptitude Test, the SAT as they call it. Do you think we need to move in that direction in the SSB?
I would say yes, that is the trend that is prevailing now all over the world, including in our enemy countries like China and in Pakistan. The realization has come that today we don't need just soldiers, we need soldier scholars.
But our whole system of education is different. We are not going in for the applied system, we go in for the road system. So don't you think a lot of people would not be ready for something like this SAT?
I think the change indicator in the country should be the army, because the IIM and the IITs are certainly not change agents. Narayan Murthy, who is chairman Infosys, in a recent meeting in New York, has said that unfortunately IIM and IIT is encouraging mnemonic brilliance within a tunnel, and that is not what is the requirement of a successful
But are we
global citizen.
analyzing the SSB system? Is there an organization which is doing all that?
Yes, unfortunately that organization is called the DRDO, which has a subset or a laboratory called the DIPR. I think they are doing an obnoxious job. Now with the ideas having come into focus, the person who should be looking after the health of the Army, Navy, Air Force ought to be the headquarter IDS and not DIPR, which is one of 25 laboratories of the DRDO. And the full form of the DRDO is Defense Research and Development Organization. I would want to know.
So the user organization should have a say.
Absolutely. Quality human capital should be the concern of the end user. It cannot be the concern of a scientist.
Would you agree with General Mehta?
Yeah, I agree with him. But I think before we get on to what should be the emphasis on training changes that we are thinking of, we must first see the drivers for change in the training systems. What is going to be the environment like, the warlike environment like, or strategic security environment in the next 10 to 15 years? I feel that high intensity skills of warfare would be required in coming years. We will have soldiers which will carry conventional rifles and grenades, but at the same time they will also use small, lightweight, multimedia electronic information systems.
All that is fine, but are we getting the right people? Are we having the right systems to get people prepared for this, the kind of thing
well,
that
after
you're saying?
10+2, as most of them have said, you are getting a boy in the NDA, you have given him 3 years, therefore the syllabus there is so tailor-made that you are going to be taking care of the technical challenges that are likely to be faced in the next few years.
But as Commandant NDA, did you get a sense that the kind of people who are coming in are not right?
Yes and no, because once the results are out, the first 50 to 60 people who are top of the list, which are selected by the UPSC, are taken away by the industry, which everybody knows, and those are the guys who go there, and then you get the rest. But notwithstanding that, as Garewal said, given the right environment, given the resources, given the infrastructure, you have 3 years, and in 3 years I think you can make a halflinger to a horse. There is no doubt about it.
So that means the SSB system, whatever be the system, makes no difference.
But what he is saying, General Mehta, I think there is a lot of merit in it. That since everything else is changing, why not them?
Brigadier Sharma, now you were also an instructor at the Indian Military Academy, IMA in Dehradun. Yeah. Did you get a sense that the curriculum needs to undergo a change at the IMA?
I'd like to again address this in two different things.
Okay.
One, the curriculum is ever evolving. It is ever evolving. While I would say in NDA there may be a little more emphasis on education or studies, in the IMA the studies part of it is balanced out, and you're more on the military aspects at their level.
Okay.
That's always there. The second aspect was a little worrisome. Most of our technical entries did not join in. They took the call-up letter and joined corporates.
Okay.
That was worrisome. And sometimes we had voids. The guy didn't come. Now that is a worrisome thing again from the SSB point of view. I have not been in the SSB, but what I have been told is that they do evolve the psychometric and psychological sort of assessments and tests to cater for certain things. But somewhere down the line, if they are interviewing 10 candidates and there are vacancies for 3, they take the best 3 out of that 10.
Okay.
So it is not necessarily the guy who actually is the right fit. It's just the best 3 out of that 10. So if all 10 are just average,
right,
you get the best of 3 average.
I must.
I may be wrong, but
Yes, General.
Mr. Sandhu, what has happened is that for the last 50 years that the SSB has carried out its selection systems, they have used one set of parameters. These have now been identified publicly. Some SSB ex-presidents and people who taught, who were GTOs, etc., are now retired. They are out in the market and they are selling their skill. So the entire system has become predictable. It's now Kunji based.
No,
you know what you are being challenged.
The point is very valid that maybe you need to have another look at the SSB system.
Change completely.
But General Grewal, tell me, at the NDA, as Deputy Commandant, did you get a feeling that the curriculum needs to be looked at again? I believe the curriculum is being prepared by the JNU at the moment.
Yes. At NDA, there is constant review of the training curriculum. There was a committee which was ordered in 1987 by the Prime Minister himself, known as the CORTOS Committee.
Okay.
That stands for the Committee for the Review of Officer Training in the Services. This committee had made some extremely far-thinking proposals. All these changes have not yet been absorbed by many of our training institutions, including the NDA. But the process is on. For example, the CORTOS committee had said that we should have an honours course.
Okay.
We have not been able to implement the honours course so far. There have been a lot of bureaucratic hurdles. The CORTOS committee also recommended certain foreign languages to be changed, emphasis on academic training to be enhanced, emphasis on common service subjects, that is jointmanship issues, to be enhanced. You would be surprised that the NDA has a total of about 4,587 periods in the entire curriculum. There were only 90 periods devoted to common service subjects, that is jointmanship.
Has the system, the number of periods, the content in the periods, has that undergone a change over the years?
It has undergone a tremendous change.
Okay. So we are actually moving.
We are moving in that direction. The current status is that about 60% of the training time in NDA is devoted to academics. About 19% is devoted to special service subjects, that is Army, Navy, Air Force special subjects, which is done in the last year. And then you have the common service subjects, and physical training per se and drill and equitation gets only about 7 to 8% of the time. Where are we going wrong, I think, and that is something which we tried to correct, but that needs a systemic overhaul, is that the non-structured time is being spent with greater emphasis on physical aspects. Let me explain that. There is a lot of structured time which goes exactly as per the CORTOS committee and various other reviews. There is non-structured time. Squadrons devote mostly to physical activity.